to avoid alternative minimum tax. Do you remember me going over that? Now, because of this setup, you will be the active manager of your passive assets. As an active manager, you're entitled to set yourself up in a certain way. Now, you have to spend 751 hours managing your properties. What I want you to do is aggregate all your properties together in one pile. You know that Schedule E? Anybody remember Schedule E? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Schedule E. Schedule E, yeah. Schedule E. On your tax return, you have to list your properties, right? A, B, C, and you break down all the numbers. Did you know you could aggregate those? You can put them all together. Pare down what? Shift. You can put them all together and put them all under A. And at the top where it says address, it said various. Various addresses. So you add together all the expenses. I didn't say you don't track them separately, you do, but you put them all together in one place. Now, what happened is you just created privacy on your tax return. Got that? There's no addresses on there. It's a beautiful thing, huh? Aha. So, now, once that's established, you only need 751 hours for your entire business, your entire rental, buying, selling, holding business, which equates to about 14 hours a week. And this counts. All your trainings count towards your hours. Driving to and from the training counts towards your hours. All the hours you spend listening to these CDs counts towards your hours. The hours you spend creating your trusts counts towards your hours. All you got to get, and it doesn't take long, does it? It doesn't take long to accumulate those hours at all. So what just happened is once you can document 751 hours of management of your assets, of your property, then you have just avoided AMT. Now that means unlimited losses to offset your ordinary income. Unlimited losses. What was the other one we covered earlier? Oh yeah, Medicaid. Medicaid benefits. Okay? Are you learning anything? Yeah. Is this good for you? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Now, this is the structure. This is the plan. When we come back from lunch, we're going to go into the actual documentation. And we're going to create. Those of you who weren't with me during the week, I covered many, many more benefits of trusts. But as you can see, we've come up with some just today. There are many, many benefits of trusts that you cannot get with any other entity. And one of the most powerful ones I shared with you to begin with, and that was buying property subject to the existing loan. Without a trust, you can't do that safely. The lender's going to call the loan due. If you buy it in an LLC, a corporation, your name, there's been a deed transfer. There's been a deed transfer, and it's obvious the loan can be called, and you have no place to run to and no place to hide. But when you buy the property into trust, then you've got the opportunity to call it something else. When you buy it into trust, then you can take over the existing financing and make the payments. How many of you believe that's worth a lot of money? That's worth a lot of money, isn't it? Just one deal where you did not have to go to the bank and you did not have to qualify for a loan. How much is that worth? On your next deal, how much would that be worth? by the time you're done with closing costs, points, what do you call it, the origination fees, and all the junk fees that Pridham doesn't charge, by the way? He charges you one flat fee, but other people charge junk on top of junk on top of junk. But by the time you're done with the junk, it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Now, how much is that worth? The next deal that you do where you're able to take over existing financing and you didn't have to put up your credit report, how much is that worth? Is that worth thousands? And in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars, simply by taking over that existing thing. Now think about that. Once you own the system, you'll have it forever. You can use it forever, for every transaction you do from here forward. Is that a good plan? Hello?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Now, what I'm going to do, if you allow me to take a few minutes for those that don't have it, and just share with you what the system entails. It's got some pretty powerful things. I say that it takes 4 things to have a successful business, and I've fashioned myself after the concept of franchising. How many of you think franchising is a really brilliant business model? It's the best. It's the best because somebody's already been there, done that, found all the mistakes, spent all the money, come up with all the answers, hand it to you on a silver platter, and say, here you go. This works, and we can prove it. To me, that's a good, successful business. And there's 4 things that have to be present. Tools, training, technology, and team. So, in our world, these are the tools. It's the system itself. And I call that the 4 T's of business success. Hidden fortunes come from the easy-to-implement systems that do for you what you cannot do for yourself. Okay? That you haven't already been through the pain and suffering and spent all the money. This is the street smart way, and it takes 4 T's to have that system. Now, what is this? Anybody remember? Patchwork quilt, right? And how many of you have a business that looks like this? Where you've got ideas from here, concepts from another place, and forms from another place, and you try to cobble that together into a business. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah? All right. Very messy. Well, let's have a funeral. Let's say a prayer. Let it go. And now we're going to start over. And we're going to do this right. And we're going to do this systematically. Because the truth is, and the proof is, in systems. Systems make the money. So first you need the tools. And in fact, Austin, would you hand out the forms for those that don't have the system? Would you hand out the forms? Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go over this with you, and you can fill it out at your desk because I'm going to give you a very special discount that's only available today. How many of you like discounts? Coupons. I got a coupon for you today, but it's only available today to get the extra discount. And I'm going to give you a whole bunch of benefits and extra bonuses that are only available today as well. So these are available online. You can go to my website anytime and buy them. The challenge is you're going to miss a lot of good cookies. So I've designed some things for you. Everyone who doesn't have the system, please take the form. We'll go over it with you. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. So the tools are your land trust and your personal property trust. Now, I call them guidebooks. This is literally a guidebook, and it's designed to guide you through the entire process of setting things up, the entire process of filling out the forms and creating the trust. And we're going to do not only the land trust, but also the personal property trust. The guidebook literally takes you through all of that process. So we've got the land trust and the personal property trust. Yeah, they both have it. Everybody on the front row has it. Isn't that fascinating? Okay, they're good. All right. So here's how the system is designed, and this will play into our next segment of training. The system is designed with the end in mind. System is designed with the information worksheet as the first thing that you do. You will fill out the information worksheet. We will use that information to fill out all your trust documents. The information worksheet is interesting as it asks for the name of the trustee. And you might say to yourself, now that's a good question. Who should I use as my trustee? And how can I protect myself against an unscrupulous trustee that might sell my property out from under me? Could that happen?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a solution for that. So I've got the question here and the answers all annotated. So every question and every answer is already done. How many of you love that? So there's nothing to wonder about. How many of you love that?
Oh, yeah.
California, give it up. I know you wanted to sleep in this morning, so did I. All right, so I've actually created for you an annotation for everything that you need to know right in the system, and it's right up front in the system. All right, now there's a cover sheet that explains who gets an original, who gets a duplicate, does it get recorded, where does it get recorded. All that confusing stuff is already handled. Is that a great thing? Now, I went to my wife years ago when I started this trust conversation in around 1985. I went to my wife and I said, honey, you're going to have to get on this boat and you're going to have to help me row. And she said, let me tell you a little bit about myself. She says, I have ADD, I have dyslexia, and I have a learning disability in math and symbols. Just stay tuned, Bertie. Stay tuned, because you're going to learn something from this. Okay. Your ADD is kicked in. So she said, I have all these problems. How do you want me to help? I said, honey, I want you to do the paperwork and the bookwork. She said, didn't you hear what I just said? I said, yes. She said, okay, I'll do it if you'll write it down. If you'll give me a filled-in version of every form and a blank version of every form, and you tell me who gets an original and who gets a duplicate and where does it get recorded and all that good stuff, if you give me that, I'm good to go.
Very good.
Go for it, sugar. So the first system I ever wrote was my trust system because I needed to get all of our properties into trust. And I knew that there was a big missing for me. I had discovered this wonderful thing on the planet and nobody could tell me how to implement it. Nobody had any documents. Nobody had any way to step-by-step process me through it. So there was only one solution. I had to do it myself. Now I went to over 20 attorneys and I explained to them exactly what I wanted. And 20 attorneys couldn't do it. So I literally had to do the research myself of all 50 state laws and discover what trusts can do and what they can't do and what required in the paperwork. So then with the assistance of attorneys, we created the document. Is that a good thing? So now, regardless of what's going on in your particular state, we have solutions for that. Now, what I've created for you is a system that outlines step-by-step what to do. In fact, there's players. Mary Livingwell and her trustee, James Goodguy. It's all there. I've actually created a step-by-step creation of the trust all the way through the documents from beginning to end. Is that a good thing? Nothing is left to chance. I've also created for you, how many of you have ever gotten a blank form and had absolutely no idea what goes into blank lines? Me too. So what I did for you is give you a filled-in version of every one of the forms. Wherever you see Mary Livingwell, that's you. And wherever you see James Goodguy, that's your trustee. Now I've given you a filled-in version, and right beside that is the blank version. So you can literally go through the guidebook and fill it out. But I've also gone one better. I've also created the documents for you digitally for you to be able to follow. Now these are copyrighted materials, so each of you are purchasing a license. You're purchasing a license to use the documentation for yourself and your business. Yourself and your business. Now the way the copyright works is that we are actually giving you the guidebooks, the digital documents, all the things that go with the license. The license is what you're purchasing. We're gifting you and giving you all of the other parts of it. Is that a good thing? Translated, there's no sales tax on licenses. Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Aha! So you're purchasing a license, and that is, you're going to protect that license. Thank you very much. How many of you believe I've invested thousands of hours of research and diligence in creating this? You better believe it. This is not duplicated any other place on the planet. And there's about a dozen holes in other people's trusts. So if you happen to have gotten someone else's trust, in fact, maybe even used someone else's trust, I can show you exactly where the problems are for you. But we can fix those. That's the good news. We can fix problems with existing trusts, and then we can go forward using